What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics, and today we got a Frank Sinatra top 10 brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, patron of the channel, and knows a ton about music, knows a ton about Sinatra. Doug. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons that make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. I say it every video. We could not do it without them. All right, I got a little bit of Sinatra up that Doug has brought me. I've become a Sinatra fan. I don't listen to any of the other stuff, thinking that Doug might bring me more, so I kind of don't want to spoil the first listen, but I know some of these songs, obviously, because they're in the top 10. I mean, I don't know all of them, but I know a decent amount of them. But Frank is he's a masterpiece, man. He's an American treasure, man. So there's no background on this, right? So let's just jump into the video. But before we do that, just a reminder, the music will not be in the video, but it'll be a Vimeo link below, so click on that link and follow along with us. Let's kick it off. Number 10. You see it below number 10. I've got The World on a String, originally written and composed by Ted Koehler and Harold Arlen for the 1932 Cotton Club Parade 21st edition, a musical review stage in the famed, of course, New York City venue. It's been called one of the most aggressively cheerful songs to come out of America's most dismal decade, right? The Great Depression. It was recorded and popularized by Cab Calloway, who had a number 18 hit in 1932. It's first recorded by Frank when he transferred to Capitol Records in 1953. His recording on April 30th, 1953, with an orchestra conducted by Nelson Riddle, reached 14 on Billboard's most played list. Other notable recordings, Bing Crosby and Louis Armstrong both did it, not together, but separately in 1933. Frank did it on This Is Sinatra in 56 and also on his Duets album in 1993 with Liza Minnelli. One of the tricky things of doing Frank songs is, I use Spotify, and there's so many versions of these songs. So I've taken the most popular versions or the version I could see that was a hit, but a lot of the albums aren't on there. They're on compilations. So that's what I've taken. So I'm sure they're going to be the right ones or similar, but I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Doug. He's in love. And so he's got The World on a String, right? When that feeling that you get that nothing else can give you. But Nelson Riddle's arrangement on here is really one of the stars. It goes along just perfectly, man, just perfectly. That kind of walking bass groove with Frank just jumping in there with his fantastic voice. So you just felt it all. That was great, man, and a quick one, right? They're not all quick. Not all these songs are quick, but a little over 2 minutes. Fantastic way to start this top 10 off. Next up at number 9, we got One for My Baby. I found a nice article on American Songwriters. It's a really good magazine that go in-depth on songs, and they actually did an article on this song, so I'm going to read you a little bit about it. The song was written by Harold Arlen, the music, and Johnny Mercer on the lyrics, with Mercer allegedly inspired by his torch for Judy Garland, who was 13 years his younger, and someone who he would carry on a long-standing extramarital affair. It originally appeared in 1943 as part of a relatively forgotten Fred Astaire musical, The Sky's the Limit. Sinatra first took a whack at this in 1947, but it wasn't until 11 years later on his album Frank Sinatra Sings for Only the Lonely that he truly claimed the song as his own, with pianist Bill Miller tinkling away the memories and Nelson Riddle, again, providing the string arrangement to break his fall. Sinatra propped himself up against the bar and gave a performance for the ages. As he remembered, this is Frank, the atmosphere in that studio was exactly like a club. Dave Cavanaugh of Capitol Records said, "Roll 'em." There was one take, and that was that. One for My Baby and one more for the road. A dialed back, just fantastic song in a way that I haven't heard Frank many times in this kind of just dialed back arrangement. It is so good. And you feel Frank's, I want to say anxiety sort of, right? Because he's in a bar and he's drinking and he knows this relationship is over and he's going to have to face it when he gets out of here. So he's going to stay in the bar, drink and talk to this guy and kind of just tell him stuff. And, you want to escapism, right? Whatever it is for you. And, I'm just imagining this bar. Imagine a bar in New York City is what I'm imagining, this dark bar. And he's in there. It's time to go. He's got to go. So now he's got to go out in the world and face it. As long as he's in there, he can run away from his problems. But his voice is so suited to this and a fantastic arrangement. Next up at number 8, we got The Way You Look Tonight, featured in the film Swing Time, originally written by Jerome Kearns and lyricist Dorothy Fields and performed by Fred Astaire. It won the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1936, and in 2004, the Astaire version finished at 43 in AFI's 100 Years, 100 Songs survey of the top tunes in American cinema. So that is high praise. But Frank recorded a cover on his 1964 album, Sinatra Sings, Days of Wine and Roses, Moon River, and other Academy Award winners. And this one was with Nelson Riddle Orchestra again. So let's go. All right, The Way You Look Tonight. Old Blue Eyes doing a fantastic rendition. I mean, all of these songs, probably all of these songs, have tons and tons of covers, right? Everybody was doing them, and people have done them in the last 20, 30 years as well, but everybody back then was doing them. But This song I know very well. I don't know that I've ever heard Frank's rendition of it, but not much better than Frank's rendition of anything. So great choice for number 8. Now we get to number 7. You talk about covered songs. We got Mack the Knife, which years ago, probably 5 years ago, Trey and I did a triple shot reaction of 3 different versions of this song. But it's a song composed by Kurt Weill with lyrics by Bertolt Brecht for their 1928 music drama, The Threepenny Opera. It tells of a knife-wielding criminal of the London underworld from the musical named McHeath, the Mack the Knife of the title. So it's about, like, what we'll see as it unfolds. If you've never listened to the lyrics and just kind of go along with it and sing it, like, it's about a murder, man. The song has become a popular standard recorded by many artists after it was recorded by Louis Armstrong in 1955. The most popular version was Bobby Darin. He did it in 59, became number 1 in the US and the UK, and earned him 2 Grammys. Ella Fitzgerald also got a Grammy for her performance in 1961. So see, we're recording them fast fashion. Frank recorded the song with Quincy Jones on his Ella Is My Lady album. He called Bobby Darin's the definitive version. Frank signed off on it. And he added the song to his live repertoire in 1984 in an arrangement by Frank Foster. And the performance included in his album, L.A. Is My Lady. Sinatra similarly name-checked Armstrong and Darin, as well as adding members of his backing band. Sinatra and Jimmy Buffett recorded a duet of the song for Sinatra's final album, Duets 2, in 1994. Okay, Mack the Knife. That thing was totally Sinatra and totally cool. All the callbacks to the people who had sang it before that I mentioned in the start, and then callbacks to the people in the band that are there with him. He just extends this thing like 2 minutes or a minute and a half, just calling out all that stuff in just the cool way that Frank can do it, man. That was a fantastic rendition. That's become my favorite rendition of this song, just because Frank added his own flavor to it, man, and only the way he can. Next up, we have Come Fly With Me, composed by Jimmy Van Heusen with lyrics by Sammy Cahn, and written specifically for Frank, and serves as the title track to this album released in 1958. Despite this, Frank's re-recording for Reprise is the version most commonly listened to. He did this song also on Duets 2 with the great Luis Miguel. To date, it's Miguel's only English language song he's released commercially. Come Fly With Me, probably one of Frank's most famous songs, right? And just fantastic stuff on there, man. Just fantastic stuff. The arrangement is great and classic on there. The line I like the most is the last line of the chorus. You may hear angels cheer because we're together. Because he's telling her, come with me, we're going to fly with me. And he goes to all these tropical locales, right? That confidence is come with me, and we're going to have all this great stuff. And at the end of the chorus, yeah, you may hear angels cheer because we're together. Frank is confident. He's got to be, man. Now, we're going to go to Rarefied Air. Top 5, Doug's Top 5 Frank Sinatra songs. Coming in at number 5, we have That's Life. It's a popular song written by Dean Kaye and Kelly Gordon, first recorded in 1963 by Marion Montgomery. It has an uplifting message that despite the ups and downs in life, one should not give up but keep positive because soon we will be, quote, back on top. Frank's is the most famous version, released on his 1966 album of the same name. It proved successful and reached the number 4 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart, continuing Frank's strong charting, even though by this time, obviously, the lads from Liverpool, the Beatles and the British Invasion and rock and roll had come full force. And so guys like Frank were kind of being pushed out, but Frank's sticking in there on those charts. It came to the attention of Frank when he heard O.C. Smith's chart-climbing cover when Frank was driving in his car in 1965. He stopped the car, called his daughter Nancy, and told her to find the publisher of the song because he wanted to record it, which, of course, she did. The recorded version was on July 25th, 1966 at United Recording in Hollywood, was arranged and conducted by Ernie Freeman, produced by Jimmy Bowen. The trio had previously worked together in 1966 on the classic Strangers in the Night, which got Sinatra the Grammy Award for Best Male Vocal. For this song, the background singers were the vocal contractor and singer B.J. Baker, along with Gwen Johnson and Jackie Ward. 40 first-chair musicians were also assembled for Sinatra's recording, including the great Glenn Campbell and many members of the famous Wrecking Crew. Sinatra took 2 passes at the song. He ended the first take with "Oh Yeah." Bowen asked him to perform it again, which annoyed Frank, resulting in the biting performance Bowen was looking for, which Sinatra tagged with the defiant "My" at the end. LA session player Mike Mello then performed the Hammond organ solo on the recording. Let's go. Getting that my in there. What a great song, man. I love this song. And I love the chorus. I've been a puppet, a pauper, or he says a poper kind of, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, and I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. And that, boys and girls, is as good of a chorus about life as you're ever going to see. Take it from an old guy, man. You're going to have ups. And the ups are never nearly as high as you think they are, and the downs aren't as low as like you're going to live your life like this usually, almost all of us. and you just kind of got to find that happy median. Whether you're sky high or low, you got to find that peace in there. And that's what he's saying, just keeps coming back. So in the chorus, he's picked himself up and got back in the race. But in the last verse, the very last thing he sings is, I'm going to roll myself up. He says, that's life, and I can't deny it. Many times I thought of cutting out, but my heart won't buy it. But there's nothing shaking come this here July, because he's going through the months a little bit at the start of the song. I'm going to roll myself up in a big ball and die. My. So it takes a little unexpected turn, but let's push into the choruses, right? Next up at number 4, we got Luck Be a Lady, written and composed by Frank Loesser in 1950 and first performed by Robert Alda. The song was featured in the famous musical Guys and Dolls. The lyrics relate the point of view of a gambler, Sky Masterson, who hopes that he will win a bet at the dice game, the outcome of which will decide whether or not he's able to save his relationship with the girl of his dreams. Like most of these songs, Frank recorded this thing several times. All right, Luck Be a Lady, a fantastic arrangement here. Frank sounds great. This song's over 5 minutes long, which is rare for any of these Sinatra songs. I mean, there's a couple of them that are, in the upper fours, but fantastic, man, fantastic. And Luck Be a Lady, I mean, talking about Lady Luck, right? Lady Luck. It's not a lady, because you might get this song in a little bit on the PG-13 side when he talks about the dice going over there. And I won't say all the lines now that I put it in that context, but a fantastic song. All right, we got 3 left, man. 3 left. And coming in at number 3, we got Fly Me to the Moon, written by Bart Howard in 1954. It's originally titled In Other Words and was introduced by Felicia Sanders in cabarets. It became known popular as Fly Me to the Moon from the first line of the B verse, and after a few years, the publishers changed the title to that officially. Kind of weird, right? You wouldn't see that nowadays. Frank recorded the best-known version on his album, It Might As Well Be Swing, in 1964, accompanied by the great Count Basie. This version was arranged by Quincy Jones, who changed the time signature from 3/4 waltz time to 4/4 and gave it a looser swing feel. Sinatra also performed the song with Basie on Sinatra at the Sands in 1966 and with bossa nova great Antonio Carlos Jobim on duets too in 1994. Frank's 1964 recording of this became closely associated with NASA's Apollo space program. A copy of the song was played on a Sony TC-50 portable cassette player on the Apollo 10 mission, which orbited the moon, and also on Apollo 11 before the landing on the moon, the first landing on the moon. Wow. All right, let's go. Fly Me to the Moon. Just a couple verses, right? The second verse is repeated to end the song, and that's where Frank really goes in over those last few lines. It's just fantastic. And then that nice pause for the U. It's wonderfully arranged, but a great song. And just Frank's uber confidence. You just feel the smoothness, man. The smoothness. I love it. Number 2, My Kind of Town, composed by Jimmy Van Heusen with lyrics by Sammy Cahn, and written for the 1964 film Robin and the Seven Hoods and sung by Frank's character. He re-recorded the song on several occasions. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song. They didn't have Best Original Song in a movie for the Grammys yet. This only went to 110 in the U.S. because this is when, the charts started being a battle, man. Started being a battle. Let's do it. My Kind of Town. If you're from Chicago, I'm sure this is one of your favorite songs. If it's not, it should be. But just, classic Frank. Great arrangement. You can feel the charisma in him, as I've said on so many songs. And now, numero uno. I'm sure you got the right guess if you're guessing what it is. It's got to be My Way, right? And it is. Doug says, this song has been so important in my life, especially the lyrics for what is a man, what has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things that he truly feels and not the words of someone who kneels. Doug says, I've always tried to live my life that way. That's fantastic right there. This song held a record for the most time spent in the UK Top 40 Singles chart at a massive 75 weeks. Some people say it's still number 1 there. Some people say it's 4th now. I couldn't find that list. It was also successful in the US, peaking at 27 in May of 1969. So remember, rock, psychedelic, all that stuff's taken over. So to get it to 27 for Frank in 1969 is quite an accomplishment. It's been covered by everyone, obviously from Elvis to the Sex Pistols. Despite its success, I was surprised by this. According to his daughter Tina, Frank hated the song. Quote, she said, he always thought the song was self-serving and self-indulgent. He didn't like it. That song stuck and he couldn't get it off his shoe. The story of this one's pretty cool. It's written by Paul Anka specifically for Frank. It uses the chords of Comme des Habitudes, I know I butchered that, by French singer Claude Francois. Anka heard the French original while on holiday in south of France. He flew to Paris to negotiate the rights to the song. He acquired adaptation, recording, and publishing rights for the nominal fee, but formal consideration of $1. Now, when you hear the story, if you only hear that, they're not telling you the whole story because, subject to the provision that the melody's composers will retain their original share of royalty rights with respect to whatever versions Anka or his designates created or produced. So these people still got rich. So don't go, oh, they sold that song for $1. How dumb. No. They knew what they were doing. Sometime later, Anka had a dinner in Florida with Frank Sinatra, and he said, quote, a couple of mob guys, during which Sinatra said, I'm quitting the business. I'm sick of it. I'm getting the hell out. Anka started on the song at midnight one night, finished it at 5 in the morning. He said, I called Frank up in Nevada. He was at Caesar's Palace and said, I've got something really special for you. When my record company caught wind of it, they were very pissed that I didn't keep it for myself. I said, hey, I can write it, but I'm not the guy to sing it. It was for Frank, no one else. So Frank recorded this at the very end of 1968 on December 30th. He recorded his version of this song in, of course, one take, featuring session drummer Buddy Saltzman among the band. In 2000, the 1969 release of My Way was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Okay, number 1 on Doug's Frank Sinatra top 10 songs. We got My Way. My Way, number 1 on Doug's top 10 Frank Sinatra songs, and I think one of the greatest songs of all time. Just an awesome flex, right? Just an awesome flex. The lines that I talked to at the lines that I shared at the start that Doug shared are the best lines in here. But the chorus too, yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and I spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall and I did it my way. I mean, wow. I mean, this song is just fantastic. I can't believe that Frank didn't like it. But that's Tina saying it. I don't know that Frank ever said it. I couldn't find it. He probably wouldn't say it because he had class and knew that he shouldn't. But all right, now we got to get to my favorites, which, I mean, all these songs are great, right? All these songs are good. Doug did a fantastic job putting this together. I mean, I had to eliminate a few things just so I didn't have 10 faves. But honorable mention, Luck Be a Lady, just because I like the way that thing was arranged. Faves, get ready. There's a lot of them. I've got The World on a String, One for My Baby, Come Fly With Me, That's Life, Fly Me to the Moon, and of course, My Way. So, I mean, almost every song on here. And the ones I took off, I just honestly took off because I really liked them, didn't love them. So, what a great list. So, let me know what you think of this list down below. Give me your favorites. What else would you have on there? And remember, this is incredibly difficult to do for any artist, but for somebody like Sinatra, biting this off to go to the top 10 is very, very difficult. So show Doug some love down below. If you haven't already, give this a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We got over 2,700 videos and got some Sinatra. Just type in Frank Sinatra, man. Check out a little bit more from him. Thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, I will see you.